You're with Julian on the brown note. And can you be racist towards white people? No, in general. And why Craig Forster is not aware of the reasons why is really troubling. Well, this is an educational piece that I believe will be posted to universities globally. So the Australian women's football captain, Sam Kerr, has gotten herself in a bit of pickle. So she was out after, I believe, an FA Cup win and got plastered, puked in a taxi, and it's alleged she either said stupid white bastard or stupid white cop to a London police officer. I believe a female London police officer, not that that really makes any difference. And she's been charged with racially aggravated harassment. So, for a start, the whole thing is ridiculous. I mean, it's going to be something like 3 years from when she did whatever she did to the trial a year from now. How much money, hundreds of thousands of British taxpayers' money, hundreds of thousands of pounds of British taxpayers' money is going to be spent on all the machinations involved in this trial? It's just pathetic. That police officer would have been called worse things every day. I mean, you know what police are called. It's not good. I'll say this. If that was the black male captain of the English men's football club, he'd be stood down. No doubt about it. Puking in a cab, saying that to a cop, he's lost his captaincy. It's so tight that would happen. So yeah, I think there is a case to answer. But Craig Forster is someone that, he's been pretty much universally admired. He's an ex-men's soccer player who transformed into being probably the most prominent male soccer commentator of the modern era in Australia, but also someone that's wed themselves to speaking out about equality and racism. So how the hell does he not know racism 101? This is blowing my mind, that a man who has stood in front of large audiences for years now decrying racism doesn't even understand the basics. Craig, what the hell? So he's come out and apologised. Forster last week urged Football Australia to strip Kerr of the Matildas' captaincy if the allegations are proven, to make a stand against racism. Now, I don't think that she should be stripped for making a stand against racism as much as bringing the position that she's in, which is extremely high, into disrepute. That's the only reason. This is from Craig Forster. Interpersonal racism against white people is still racism. And now he's actually been schooled on why he's wrong. He said, now, like many, I mistakenly thought that comments that referred to any colour and were discriminatory, demeaning or hostile were racism. I apologise to Sam for that mistake. Judging from the coverage, comments and conversations we're all having every day, there were major gaps in my knowledge about how to deal with situations where the descriptor white is used in a derogatory way. Craig, how are you that? Like a 12-year-old studying racism for the first time would encounter this argument. Can you be, in general, in our society, in our Western world, racist towards white people? No, you cannot. And this is why. As he has now found, racism isn't semantics. It isn't saying black person bad, white person bad, therefore equal, as pretty much all the populist right will have you believe. It requires power structures. It requires history. It requires historic imbalances between different coloured skin. And I'm going to give an example of why there needs to be those imbalances in societal perception and history towards one group or another. So this is my award-winning analogy on why you can't be racist to white people. Now, if I was walking down the average high street in the West, I'm 6'4". That's tall. So say I'm walking with somebody, a man that's 5'5". That's short. Now, never in my life has being tall been a negative. It's been a positive my whole life. And someone yells at me, "Hey, tall fella." The impact on me is not exactly that bad. There's nothing negative about being tall. There never has been. There's no inference that's negative made about my character, my abilities as a romantic partner or an employee from being tall. It's all positive. About my strength or masculinity from being tall. Even if I blew my top, my anger would be regarded as a sign of my strength. No one in the public on the other side of the street is looking at me and making negative judgments about me being tall. I've never had any negative judgments about being tall my whole life, wherever I've gone, even amongst people that aren't tall. Now you look at my friend standing next to me, who's a 5'5" tall guy. Everyone that's looking at me and looking at him is making negative judgments about him, despite not knowing his character or who he is or what he does. They make negative assumptions about what he's capable of, his suitabilities as an employee or a lover. If he loses his temper, it's because he's short. People make judgments on him on a micro level every single second of his life that he's in public that are negative because he's short, nothing to do with anything about him other than his height. People make judgments when you walk in somewhere based on your physical characteristics, and in my lifetime they've always been positive. But you will be dismissed for being that short fella on a range of different criteria that have nothing to do with anything about the content of your character or who you are as a person. Now, if I were walking down that street with that same short white guy and I was black, now the short white guy is king.